Okay, everybody, we are back on a Tuesday. That's what we want to do and get with it. A little feedback on that other one. Hold on. Give me 1 second to fix this. Yeah. Sorry about this. Hold on. 1 second, everybody. I got something playing back in my ear. Hold on. 1 second. Let me do it this way. Sorry about that. I had to cut that off. I don't know. I had some feedback. How's everybody doing? A late start. First late start in a long time. So for me, definitely not what I want to be. I want to be more timely. Noon, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Eastern, and we're back. So looks scary, right? Looking right at Ethereum, I think that's probably your main crypto chart. Bitcoin's not really even doing much. It's holding. We'll look at that in a second, but I think it's all about Ethereum. Tried to pop off what we could call the attempted check back. And I said this yesterday, I'll say it again today. Amplified RSI is everything on your daily. Look at the Coinbase feed. That rolls over, we're done. If HSI cannot break out now, I mean, that's your only bullish case off of this check back, then we look deeper, longer into probably the month. That's how critical this is. I think everybody, since the check back was such a nasty candle, which is indicative of paying attention to some kind of extraordinary signal at a level we're targeting. Looking for a check back, not there. So quick shout out to the chat. What's happening? You guys, my level's okay. Everything coming in. How's everyone feeling today? Great to see everyone back. Matt, Victoria, David, Snipes, Laser D, everyone else, thank you. So we know how critical it is. We're ending the month. Don't forget that. Jump into September. What's the monthly look like? There's Ethereum. Really wish that was a bullish candle. Was a bullish candle 2 days ago. Anything really above that 1700 mark. So if you're bullish, for your monthly perspective, looking for an inflection off of what happened from June, you're not going to get the follow through. And you're still dealing with that. Straight up. Something we were talking about was going off your weekly or the daily, even better. I think those are the levels that, like most of these crypto scenarios that have patterns, they did the big 1618. Where is the reaction off of this overextended decline going to happen to where we get to the 382? Hold on 1 second. There you go. I have to find that. So the breakdown here is really clear. I think everyone's trying to already shoot it, kill it, say it's done, it's failed, it has failed. And for me, reading how we are in this larger zone, trying to stabilize some kind of our amplified RSI, it's there. It's there and nowhere else. And I agree with anyone that wants to target this kind of breakdown once it happens. But you're in like 24/7 watch on this. Probably in a way that you haven't been since like June 21st, when you were fishing for some kind of, or hoping for some kind of cycle low. Finally did get it within that, on most of them within a week after. But for now, if HSI goes back down, that would pretty much seal the deal. And your amplified RSI not breaking out, not busting above the 50, taking more time. This is at a point where it should be doing things that it's not. So what are we going to do with this? Because there's a lot of situations that are still playing out early on, and then we know of what would have to be the next signal if that fails. And let's just say it's the lows. I said that yesterday. Under 1430, under 1400, I think you go back to the XA level, 1280. Take a look at the zone, and in a larger retest, you failed to break out of the long-term downtrend here. Now we're going to really take it out and break it down, even give you some kind of BAM. Is there a bat structure somehow? I mean, it's not. Maybe on the 4-hour time frame, if you were going to look for something. I mean, X, A, B, C, D, something like that. All of that suggests a deeper retest of the zone. That's what I'm thinking. I've taken some shots. I might take some scratches. Ethereum 1530. Yeah, on anything under 1500, I think it's where even psychologically the larger possibilities are going to come in. And you did break down recently, giving you like the first complex breakdown, which is not, if you're looking for up and you get something like this, you get the development of an M-shaped pattern. I'm full alert. You connect the dots, that gets you down to 1140, 11, 1120. But that BAM breakdown in that formation starts off the B point. You're threatening that. So under the lows, I mean, it's real clear. Under these lows, that becomes a valid scenario. Could even wait for the breakdown. Again, you're so tight in this market that either way, you're going to have plenty of time to capitalize on what's going on. And then you shoot the retest. And then the retest is a question of the lows. This pattern, something that develops in here. I think, look at it this way. It's going to be more time. It's going to take probably through the end of the year to truly resolve the weekly formation. There it is. Your downtrend is still intact until you break that out. Take away all these arrows. Not dismissing what the check back is. It just has to do things now. I said that yesterday. I'm saying that again. It flashed above 1600. But if this is going to be something, okay, this is where you bump up your stop limits. A couple things, just 5-minute charts, folks. A lot of interesting dynamics going on I've seen in the last 24 hours. Here's Ethereum. Speaks to its tradability. Look, there's the completion of the crab. That's the last 5-minute pattern on Coinbase. But you're always looking for the next arrow, next green arrow. That's HSI. Around 518. Now, I bring this up because you're in such a tight range here. Your limit for downside is scratch. And you have some heavy lifting to break the upside requirements to really change the narrative. Let's just go on this 5-minute time frame. Target 1570. I would be very concerned if we come up to 1570 and get rejected again. because that typically sets up your type 2 return. You'll fail the prior high at 1600. That'll be a new intermediate high. But this target 1, if we get some kind of reaction off of that crab, and I would target, that would be about maximum too. I would not expect more than $10 above that. Certainly under 1600 going forward is, the maximum pullback you would expect after that first decline. It looks like this, just off of that. That's a major intermediate peak for now until October, going into September. And we're going to look at this return trade in a lot of different instances in a few moments when we look at tech stocks. We see it, confirmation. Here's the Gartley. Here's the last two bullish patterns. Okay. Perfect Gartley on a 5-minute generates here. No confirmation, but beautiful structure on a 5-minute. And this is something that apply to any market, any high volume stock. I think there's so many out there that you can trade actively like this as long as you know the framework. And the first move on the Gartley, this is just from yesterday. Big move up 28 to 60, 1560. 40 points. But all reaction. And so when it comes back and does the retest, that's just something, listen, I'm working on something that's going to help identify that. It's been tough. But I do think where if we pull it together, it's easy to follow once you line them up where you're looking for look for the arrow. Secondary test on that Gartley, okay, with the arrow, all that around 1530. Arrow goes on, bang. And you're looking for target 2, so from 31 up to 45. Do have a pattern, okay, and the end of the type 2 for this, that comes back for the return, this is exactly where that type 1 began. And on the check back, this is Ethereum, 5-minute. And then target 2 was 52. Type 1 move, your minimum is go to target 1. Type 2, target 2. And HSI comes in here where, 1545, under 1550, you might be thinking sell, taking profits. And not a bad idea to do that. On a type 2, though, one of the final pieces we're always looking for is where's the trend line break off of the measured move. I think that's really helpful for people to understand where you do want to take profits at predetermined targets, like right here, you bearish pattern. And I'm not saying flip it, go short. You could try to do that. That would be a failed short. But look at what happens. The thing is, we're looking at right now with a lot of the daily checkbacks and their potential failure occurs after the bar completes, even with the checkback. This is important. I think a lot of people are missing this where it's because it doesn't work out in every instance, but it is the ideal scenario where you form the pattern right there. You get the confirmation arrow, and then you're still in this early zone of execution. Now, this one failed because right when you're checking back, you blow through the zone. Now, you might have taken that and then gotten stopped out above there, but there was no individual reversal behavior. Also, look at amplified. I mean, that was not confirming either, but could have been stopped out. You had a lot of nice back-to-back patterns in Ethereum on the 5-minute, and now it's little things like that are going to determine, all right, is this going to break down now? And it'll fall apart on these 5-minute patterns. And look, we just generated Harmonic Strength Index bearish to the downside at 1527. So what are we going to do? Come back? Usually that means we're going to take more time. So grinding sideways, it's a pretty steep chart, even for a 5 minute. Let's go to Bitcoin. Gone on quite a long time about Ethereum. But again, this is like the big ones. Bitcoin at now under 20K, that's probably everyone's going to talk about the 20K level. We have this pattern, crab pattern, that has done how many days since the hop? Or at least even below XA? Yeah, 80, 78, 77, something like that. Sideways action. This is the last HSI. This is what we've been looking for as a secondary trigger and what is happening after the check back. It's not hitting it and reversing it in ideal fashion, no doubt. A lot of these, they came in on that check back with this big bar. That started last week across the board, but it did register HSI. So this is the only thing you need to look at on a daily time frame, that each prior day or even 3-day range is what's going to dictate how low this goes. Bitcoin has that hop level at 19,774. You're essentially, 19,822 at the moment on Binance. You're looking, this has to do something now. If it rolls over again, I think it's with amplified. This is like Ethereum too. Look, it's going back down. That's the way to read that when you roll back over into an extreme. If amplified and the price action, I mean, I'm talking individual price action, just one day over the next is going to dictate literally the next month. So watch each day, but we go back into the extreme zone, it's going to take more time. It's going to take more time. It's a little kind of like gyration where it can be a tertiary move, but it costs you more time and price. I said this on Thursday. I said it yesterday. I mean, it's so do or die at the moment, where literally your prior day's range is pretty much the whole stop on the whole market. No doubt. BTC at 20K. But what triggers that? What triggers that massive failure? Just going back to this long-term range. Is this, let me move that out. There you go. Here's the long-term downtrend since the peak on amplified RSI. And probably since the last breakout did not get above even the downtrend, you're going to come back in for a secondary test. More time. Just going to take more time, and then HSI has to come down even more because you would want to see the next reading. No check back on that. Not yet. It could come back later, but right now there was no immediate check back. You're weak too. I still say you're squeezed in between these ranges. If this does want to do some kind of catastrophic drop, I think you just target it off this last reading. I mean, it's the Bitcoin scenario the whole summer long has given you basically one candle's range. That's really tight. Break that, you're done. I mean, and even use that individual candle as just saying, okay, the next target off that 1618 throwdown move matches up with a heck of a lot of long-term things. You would look for a 1618 throwdown. Is that what's going to happen? with Bitcoin to get you to the end. Something. It's yeah, you hear it. You heard it here. What's going on? Let's get into it. I think it was look, this thing is so overcooked on the downside. Maybe not so much Binance, but Binance Coin is like a lot of these that do have setups. Some of them produced these mini bearish patterns that sent them back into the larger range. Binance Coin hit the hop level. We still, I mean, here's the example where you did have an HSI, but it didn't happen at target one. That's always something I'm get skeptical because the type 1 reaction it hasn't completed. So Binance Coin has been one of these where follow that along for the broader market as well. 256, said that a few times now, gets you back down to retest the larger levels off this bat pattern that's been generated. Both of these automatic on the software. And now you have some kind of confirmation. Look, just follow the arrows. Pattern completes, arrow. Pattern completes, arrow. Bang. Now, reaction on that Binance coin. Again, 256 is, no matter what goes on here, 256 has got to be maximum downside limit unless something much larger is going to take shape. That would be, I think, for Binance coin, if that happens there, that would be, what would happen to the rest of the coins. Still in type 1 reaction within a larger type 1 bullish reaction stabilization or bat pattern. But it's got to do some things now. Keep an eye on that. Binance coin, obviously, the Bitcoin situation where, here you go. Let's bring this up. Now here you go. NASDAQ down what now? 12,321 down 184. Yeah, that's just, we'll get into that in a second. I want to wrap up this Bitcoin scenario because if it's going to happen, it's going to happen now. That's what these failures tell me. I mean, those signals, secondary HSIs within those big zones, if that's not going to hold it, then it's going to go back and retest the lower part of those zones. Bitcoin futures, we've talked about this for a while. Here's your pattern. 19,416. HSI triggered 5 days ago at around 2,800 in this lower zone. What's it going to do? Obviously, it's retesting the hop level, but that's it. There's no other excuse, tolerance, extra layer you can give this. Take a look what's Amplified's telling us as well. Ugh. Back down in the oversold, expanding on a daily. 2 more days, 3 more days. I mean, that's, something's up. Something is up. It is, you would think it's scraping the hop. Absolutely. But then the indicators tell you, oof, I need more time, please. I want to go swimming in the oversold. Would it be, it would be a lot better if this standard RSI BAM, that's what's going on here. You have the first test here that happened, of course, June into July. And now you need a secondary test to complete that, but it would have to go down more to complete that. Keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on it. It's, it's something where I'm not gonna, sugarcoat it. This is where the big breakdown would have to happen. Here's that Chili's. Now this is something I wanted to update where um, people asked me if I got out of that early, and so what? There's your HSI, and then it checked back 23.56. It did hit target two. This is again another where if you recognize that's the reaction, the final move, the final whatever, where you have to be pulling stops is if you're long that, well, the breakdown of that trend line is the end of the reaction, and then come back down. Who's having fun? I'm having fun. Listen, I think we just have to recognize this where reaction reversal phase. I mean, some of these have um, done big type twos. I think this it was Ave. No, there comes an immediate bearish pattern. It's kind of funny. Um, 1 second, let me find is maybe Zcash. 1 second. There was a crypto that's one of the privacy coins. Yeah, I think it was this one. It's in a type two on a weekly. It's like a butterfly or something. I'll have to bring it up. A lot of these are in the spot weekly where they're just retesting longer term zones. But let's jump over to Nasdaq. Come on. I think crypto. Give it 2 more days. Give it one more day. You know, it'll break down today or tomorrow. You'll know. So for me, that was it. We'll talk more about that on Thursday. We have to just look structurally where it is and what it should be doing. It's not, and then everything else that's at stake. I think it's you're in the return phase of a lot of things. This is I don't think I talk enough about type one completion points. You know, what defines the exact end of the reaction in a type one move? How do I know that I'm back into a type two return? Meaning I have to go back. You treat it that way. If you have a primary pattern and you understand what the harmonic pattern truly means, is that it's kind of a structural formation alignment of buyers and sellers that repeat, have a similar behavior, where then they have to do this kind of reaction function in general in the way the market's moving. And so that's, again, reaction's the first move. But then how do we know exactly the proper type 2 return is? Because that can happen to be pretty swift. We're always looking for confirmation. Sometimes we don't get it. And then sometimes it doesn't get to target one. What do you do there? NASDAQ 100 has this shark pattern. We've talked for a long time why basically 11,600, 11,800, I think, or 11,888 might have been a number I was thinking about. Was the maximum downside you would want to see. It's another situation where all the NASDAQ is, this whole correction is simply, it's an extreme harmonic impulse wave where you had the last move up to the failed peak, the failed breakout point. You measure that down. That whole thing was taken back times 1.618, all the way gets you to there. And that you should be trying to develop some kind of low end of that entire range. Now, at a minimum, you look for that to be retested if that's what's going on here, which I think we've been saying that even with the pattern, we're still looking for even something like this down to target one, and then the return. You know, I think I said this more than a week ago, where that if you're looking to be bearish in the market, I'd rather see it on the retest of this bearish bat pattern, saying that this is still a reaction. Can it be a reaction that completely goes? Of course. But that's how we look at it. We're at the first segment. But now, are we going to do the return move, or is this just going to fall apart? Is that it? Uh, and that's what my job is to figure out. I will say this: until you get definitive signals and indicators like your amplified RSI, even if you're looking at RSI indicator, it has to come out of the zone. And harmonic strength index right there is starting to roll back in. And always, if it does that, some kind of secondary test, more time, more days down, more days in the primary trend direction until that can come back out. It would go like that and come back down, roll over. So, uh, not fun stuff. And again, I think where you are structurally, it's part of the reaction mechanism, especially when you've got the patterns like we've seen. I'll quickly review. Here's Tesla. Use that as kind of the poster child. There's the daily, and did get an overextended butterfly. I think on the other platform it might have been picked up as a crab. It doesn't matter. The reaction phase. This is what we've been talking about from essentially 230.49 up to 298. That was it. That was your segment. That's all you get. You don't get moon, you get reaction. And then you got an HSI signal that was generated 10 days ago. And since then, we then have went into officially, just think of it as a reaction phase. So if you know you're in reaction phase and you know there's a very good chance that you have to go back and retest the zone to affirm the larger pattern, reaction reversal. Your big bullish opportunity is on the retest. You're confirming support. You have a pattern, probably generate some kind of HSI signal back here. But now, in the last few days, you've gone into full type 2 return. There's several of those. Here's the one I needed to follow up on yesterday, but look, this, talk about type 1 reaction. So, Apple, it was a couple of things. Right now, it's picking up a shark. I mean, there was 175 was the number. And here's another one where you can't ignore the fact that you're already done the full reaction move, broke the uptrend, collapsing now where target one at 152.59, you just stand back and let that, especially the way that is coming off of the recent inflection point. Be aware of that. Let's take a look. What was the other one? Yep. Hold on one second. Bring that other one. Go to the weekly chart. So Apple did register a weekly HSI, basically failing the prior highs. A lot of people thought maybe they would go nominally to all-time new highs and a major fake out. I would just keep my eye on this weekly action as it falls apart. Had HSI and amplified on the weeklies. That's a pretty big deal. That's actually a really big deal that probably haven't talked enough about where it is in the RSI reading with some of the weekly marks that just got registered either last week or at the beginning of the month. Keep an eye on it. Yeah, Ethereum's falling apart. Let's take a look at, bring in something like Meta. Okay, it's like the rest of them, probably getting to the point where the structure is so horrible that once it does flush, I think it's you got major problems. Look, here's the old Facebook Meta platforms. Now, beautiful crab pattern, right? Here is the completion point for that crab. Look, that's always first. This HSI is not really relevant because we're always looking for pattern first, then confirmation variable. So that makes Facebook continuing to slide. There's your long term. And even if you were lucky, something like this, maybe, maybe you, I don't know. But it has a hop level at 116. And you're nowhere near confirming any kind of confirmation. So keep an eye on that. It's about to make new lows for the entire move. And there's, again, I think you would target $100 on this. Here's the 4 hour. Oh, nice shark. I didn't see that before until now. There was a shark about 10 days ago up there. 4 hour chart. Maybe a good way to start looking for other things too. If this is already going to crack support, like, it is. There it is. There's your weekly. About to go new lows with nasty breakdown candle. I mean, inside of bullish range. I mean, this is the other thing is why do we look for confirmation? Because we don't want to jump early. And that typically happens when we don't have confirmation after the pattern completion. Real common to get something like this. And then maybe if it comes down and triggers all the way down at 115, hey, that might be a great opportunity for this whole structure and meltdown that started from 360 down to 120, 116, sure 157, pointing the wrong way. There's a lot going on here where it's been dragged out, no doubt. Someone made a good comment about Meta. It has really tried to buffer this recent selling but it's just there's no reaction, and you see that where tell me what's going on after it hits the zone. Is there any kind of stabilization, any kind of dramatic change in price action? No, and you haven't even reached target one. That's for me. That's a problem, and it can tell you that you need a lot more time. Something like that. If that does not happen within usually 30, 40 bars, then you're looking at something that's kind of a dud or delayed reaction, which you still can get. Which, look, for Meta, yeah, you had a signal that came in after the XA level all the way around at 162, but look what happened. You went sideways. You got a little dud. You did have some kind of little immediate response from the 160 level. Your trigger was right on that retest, 163, 164. But you spent the better part of over a month here, and then you triggered another bearish signal. And this is something where it doesn't seem, in a lot of these instances, can seem kind of small, but the way to think about it always is that it's going to take more time. More time, where it doesn't mean it won't reverse at a later point, but you would look for either another pattern or the next HSI, which you have here, which is not holding. That's another failure. I mean, you can see that early. Your checkbacks, your HSI signals, when they happen, they don't do this. And you continue the breakdown here. This is where it cracks. It's tough. Really difficult. I mean, it's going to bring down a lot of different things. Here's something I want to share with everybody. I told you I was out of this a little bit early, but Mosaic, This is something, check out last week's sessions and keep an eye on this because this will give us a type 2 move. Now, I got out early on a fake out of a trend line. I mentioned that. That was a good one. It was a good trade for me. I didn't catch the target one, but that's so definitive type 1 reaction move that you didn't have HSI up there, but if our goal is to go from terminal bar or terminal bar confirmation to, type 1 level, that's it. Now, maybe you didn't catch it right there, but even some kind of trend line break or 3-bar reversal, that should not be happening. If it's going to be a monster home run move, you don't see stuff like that. It'll blast right through. That's not what's happening. So this is again the model. If it's a tech stock or even an agro, petro, whatever stock, a lot of these are coming back for the type 2 return, which could be the larger phase of whatever's to come here in the next few weeks. No reprieve. June to August is over. Okay, coming into, by the way, no, I think Monday is Labor Day. Okay, so no show on Monday. Take Monday off. But just to let everybody know, we will be on here on Thursday. We'll give away some more books, maybe a membership or two, something like that. Try to give away things on Thursdays. So if you want to win a book or try to get some free access much longer, we offer the free trial, 2 weeks. And again, go to basic membership, register as a free Harmonic Trader basic member, and then check out all of the software. Several people have been hitting the MetaTrader for crypto and really like it. And a few also are now on eSignal, which is, again, you have to pay for the data. It's not cheap. The other ones have better data options, probably a little bit more affordable, but all have the same functionality. And again, some of the broker relationships will give you the software for free, like NinjaTrader and Sierra Chart. Get with, no matter who you have your platform with, get with the TradingView program. Take the 14-day free trial and send your username, just your TradingView username, to hpc@sr-analyst.com. Okay. Remember on yesterday when I pulled out the volume 3, again, I think that's another place to bring that back up. Just click on volume 3. You've got access to all the books. It was about page 180, if I recall, somewhere around there. Maybe 280 with HSI material. And it's the only place where in any book I have harmonic strength index material. So yeah, about 275. And this was fairly new. I mean, it's 2016. I was really kind of putting out the concept. Take a look at that. That's volume 3, and you get that through the basic members page. It's all free. But look at that section on harmonic strength index and compare it to what we need to see, or what we're seeing currently with a lot of these. Are we getting pattern confirmations? Are we getting, especially the type 2 stuff, depending on your level, that HSI has a lot to say about what to expect. So Mosaic is like a lot of the other ones on a type 2 return. That's exactly how you would treat it. And here's another perfect example of, look, the 3-bar reversal tells you something bigger is unfolding. And today's low already, looking for the close under anything from 57.60. But the last 3 days, 1, 2, 3, yep, that clinches it. 5 days almost. But this 3-bar reversal, even basic candlestick readings, going to tell you that's occurring at a harmonic level. Yeah, really good chance you set something off to do a larger retest move. One more on these. Kind of shows you the breadth to which, no matter what the stock, what the market, it's following that. Was it J.P. Morgan? No, it was Goldman Sachs. Well, here's just run through J.P. Morgan really quick. J.P. Morgan did a type 2. All right, back here, 133 came back. We were looking for this as a long opportunity back in July as a part of our 3 ideas. And now it just printed another bearish butterfly. I'm going to see what happens next 2 or 3 days. Come in here by next week. If that's beyond target 2, it's the failure point. But that's not the one I wanted to show. Goldman Sachs was clear type 2 return phase now. I think on the weekly or daily. It's a daily type 2. Let's go. Couple of patterns, everything around 300. And I think it hit the target one on the butterfly. Yeah. Perfectly. So around 360. The larger the shark, target one was at 364. That wasn't hit, but reaction phase is over when you break the trend line, even if you miss all of that. It's just an easy way to kind of frame out the patterns with the levels. And look for this. You got an HSI rolling over now. And HSI doesn't look like it's doing anything yet. HSI on Goldman Sachs is rolling back down. And this is where we'll know I'll know by tonight. You'll know by tonight. You'll see that under 11. That's going to go back down. Again, a lot of these are in that position where just doink right back down to 300. Hey. But that's the type 2 return, folks. And that's something, there's some videos that are on the channel and videos that we send out with the software trials that walk you through how to read that. Interestingly enough, the big debate that we had yesterday about crude oil looked like it really doing a head fake. I mean, here's ExxonMobil, and it was down $3 today. What happened here? Retest of this big deep crab. I'm watching this. It did not trigger any HSI, so I'm still suspect. But this is classic type 2 return material. I mentioned that yesterday. I was surprised to see this thing get taken out, but all right, maybe now on the look. Be aware of this. There's your crude oil. How the heck, with all the things going on, is crude oil going to reverse lower? Some of the readings are showing that. They're flashing that now with today. I mean, today kind of dropped it like a rock out of the zone. That's amplified. You didn't get triple confirmation, which you did back here, amazingly. Triple confirmation of 1, 2, and 3. RSI, HSI, and amplified all at the same point with the pattern. That it doesn't get any better than that. And now we're retesting that. 100.93 is the 1618. That was yesterday's high. Yesterday's high was 101.56. Was it? 101.56. So it didn't even clip the 1618 yet. Keep an eye on this pattern. I mean, I'm really surprised if this registers today in HSI and then we don't push higher over the next 2 or 3 weeks in crude oil. What's that saying? I mean, it 3 days ago looked like this thing was going to explode up to the hop level at 107. Maybe still will, but I'm watching this. This is an interesting spot. And the XLE is pretty much the same way. And a lot of those select spider ETFs are longer term hitting some retesting levels, retesting resistance. Check out this XLE. Yeah, that's type 1, type 2 without confirmation, but structurally pretty interesting. XLE on the weekly, folks. Target 1 to 66.41. Amazing. Straight back. We have yet to hit the 1618. That's what we're looking for as the minimum signal. It can go as high as terminal or even higher, wherever HSI triggers up in here. That's what you're looking for. Probably, I don't know, a few weeks away from that, but you have to get above that. If you think oil is going to blast off now, it would have to blow this out. If we hit it, let's say we get 88, 87 on XLE, and then we just kind of loiter here for 3 weeks and it starts to roll over, then you're already in a type 2. And that would be classic definition of end of the type 2 return. Here's the reaction. No HSI, that makes it tough, but just structurally, you have to start thinking reaction starts here. End of the reaction starts at target 1. If you're hoping for more and you're disappointed, you're going to sit on your hands and give it back. Done it lots of times. It's an overrated experience. But looking for this, then come back, finish the return phase. That's exactly the way to think about it. Maybe not so much up or down, but reaction, return, reversal. But other things have to happen up there in crude oil. Let's take a peek at what's going on in NASDAQ futures. Something tells me I'm look over at my other platform here and see it down, 192. Great. So what's going to happen the rest of the week before I get out of here? Clearly, week over week, we can go serial up and serial down. Meaning week over week, bar over bar. Last week, I did mention that this ended up being a 3-bar reversal on the weekly. And now we have confirmation. Essentially, that range was violated to where really should have held if the upside was going to continue. Now, come back down, retest the lows, the 886. HSI is nowhere close to being overbought. Oversold. So, why not? HSI did register up here back in. Did it hit that? I think it maybe fell. Yeah, a point, 2 points shy. 88.6 versus 86.02. But to be an opportunity to be long, you would want to see all three hit there, and then even RSI. And RSI and Amplified both started going under the 50 level pretty clearly. They're effective if you understand that, where if you can't climb above the 50 level and you're in a consolidation zone, chances are the primary trend is going to require more time. More time in terms of retest or consolidation, not in the anticipated trend reversal direction most people would be looking for. And then the final, obvious, I think everyone's drawing this now, saying that they had it. Just the big, clear bear market downtrend, and everyone will say, okay, well, there was another 20% rally and a 10% rally there. How many more of these? Well, if it continues, then you kind of go into these sequences because they're just 1618 extensions. 1618, generally 1618. And if that's the breakdown point where we're going, then it's the 1618. Again, final wave. If this is truly the top end, it's going to be a hell of a trend continuation. I think just with the charts on the daily, you got to go back and retest the patterns. We know that. This one on NASDAQ daily, look, it was a type 1 off of the, what was it? Shark pattern or ABCD. Hold on, let me clean this up. Showing too many. I'm going to just show the last pattern served, which is the big ABCD. Where'd it go? Here we go. All right, that shows the bearish. Let me go to just show the bullish. And the bearish matters, but really if we're in a massive type 2 return, which we are, off of, say, this ABCD, the whole, it's the 11.8, 11.5, 11,000 max. 11,000's it. I mean, and having this dynamic that happened from June till now, where type 1 reaction is clearly over and you've just entered in the return phase with the recent breakdown, okay, then that means you have to go back to retest the zone. Retest 11.5, talking minimums. You're 12.3. I think we were saying this yesterday, and 12.8, 12.6, 12.5, doesn't matter. Current HSI that you have right now, wrong place. You're maybe checking back and clearly failing. And you're all of your look, relative strength is not confirming what that amplified reading's saying. Amplified's going down, looks like it's going to expand. It would have to pivot right out, and then you would get the signal. Not there yet. HSI is trying to come back out, but if you don't get one bullish bar to go green here, it goes back and retests all those numbers pretty quickly. The return phase can be nasty. Come back in a hard reaction and then you're dealing with stuff. Yeah, I mean, here's the Tesla thing on the weekly. I forgot to mention that. That, again, it's mechanical. And that's the way it should be thought of. Not in every instance, but if you can identify these, one, it makes it easier to capture the profits when you're dealing with reaction targets. You know, you capture the bat, which we talked about. This was pre-split, but once you get to target one, if you're not pulling the trigger, then you're not doing the job, because that's the most. And even though it went to what, 300 or 315, 286 is your number. So take it at 286 and change and be done. Don't think about it, because now you break, threatening to, maybe not fully yet, but break the downtrend on the weekly. You send you back right into a spiral down to 208 minimum. That's that. Every day we trigger lower, kind of make new lows. You're now 275. This will accelerate into that low. Go to daily time frame. Yeah, look, even the daily. Look, the daily's showing that with an ABCD into the low of June. That's got to get retested. Eesh, I did not see that. Here's the other thing with Tesla. Let's use that as the poster child for tech stocks. Okay, expanding in the lows. That will take several days. As it does, that's a vulnerable spot, because you're already breaking down. You failed HSI. You want to see a failure of HSI? This is my problem, or my consideration with what's going on in Ethereum and Bitcoin, is you get this kind of a thing. It's supposed to happen at a high level. HSI triggers, checks back, maybe one candle, and then the next day lower, down, and it'll just continue. So that's a failure, no doubt. And until HSI comes back out, you expect that lower to continue lower. Tough sledding. I mean, it's yeah, it could get real nasty. It's not it's, if you were looking for that retest, or if you're looking for an opportunity, it would have to go all the way back down there. And there are many. I mean, there are many opportunities that are like that If they go back and retest June lows, take out June lows or even lower, and then trigger all the way back down there, maybe maybe that is the opportunity. From our perspective of what a long-term type 1, type 2 situation looks like on a weekly level, on a daily level. A lot of these are daily, weekly. I mean, this is, there's 2019 weekly. Much, very similar situation, big reaction up. This goes above target too, but that's all it is. Again, break the trend line, break the trend line, and you have to come back and retest the PRZ. If not, that one hit the hop. That was 2019, 2020, and so forget even what was going on there. Just describe it. Type 1 or type 2 deep crab. It's a type 2 here. Type 1 reaction, in a nice pattern like that. 198 is your number. Even though it went to 240, you're down at 170, trying to go to 198, call it 200. And then beyond that, it's bonus. But that's the way to think about it. And then come back down here on the retest off the hop or terminal bar where, yeah, 159 or 160, or if you're lucky at the hop at 140, you're thinking 228. Where we are in a lot of these markets right now is, yeah, this return phase, returning, the type 2 return. I could pull up a couple other ones. I think I'm going to stop there. Folks, check it all out. You really want to go to, here we go. Go over to the website and access the volume 3. I think that's volume 3's got everything. It's got a pattern primer. And then the basic members does have, that section has videos on these. Check it out there. A lot to think about, but you're in a phase where if we're going to roll over and have to retest, which for a lot of other reasons I could get into today, I won't, especially try to avoid the narrative discussions. I want to talk numbers and, where are we within that pattern framework, because it tells us a great deal of, okay, where's the real opportunity? It's got to retest, most cases has to retest June lows. Beyond that, we'll see what happens with the fallout. Things like Tesla, probably even still early. So come on back. Thursday, we'll be back here. I'll give a couple books away and see how far along we progress in this type 2 return, because that's where it truly is. Hang in, folks. Until then, as always, go get them. Thanks for showing up.